Welcome to another episode of Who You Listening To Podcast with your main man, Markey B. And before we get into who's the man behind the cut, make sure you like, comment, share, or subscribe to this podcast if you like what you see. All right, let's get right into it. So, who's the man behind this cut? Well, it's no other than my main friend right here, AB. AB the Barber, some would say. So, how's it going, AB?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Just excited to be here. I know we've been talking about this for the longest. It's been a while, a long time coming, and I'm just happy to finally be here and be doing this with you. And I'm excited, man.
Well, let's get into it, man. So, people know, well, some people know you as AB. Some will say AB the Barber, but who is AB the man?
I would say AB is somebody who is passionate about what he does. I would like to say that I take pride in what I do. I like um, just having a spot where my clients can come in and just have a spot where they can talk about things. And then in the midst of doing all of that, I can help you look confident as well. So that's who AB the Barber is, I guess you can
Yeah,
say.
yeah. And I like how you said help you look confident. And going into that with the self care men series, I couldn't think about anybody else but to start off with my friend right here. One is because most people, when they look at me and look at a possible barber I would have, they probably may not think your complexion would be the person to be the barber that I actually have. And you give me dope cuts every time. I'm telling you, you need to get plugged in with them. But let's talk about self care. For our men out there, how do you find a way to balance success and also self care?
Well, I feel like you have to balance all areas of your life. And, that's what success is to me, right? Balancing all areas of your life, whether it's your health, your relationships, your job, your career. And I feel like once you have all of those balanced, then that's how you become successful. It's not just one thing or the other. It's everything as a whole, and that's how you become successful.
So, how did you start to see it that way?
I feel like having a schedule is very important. Having a schedule, and once you have that schedule, you make time for what you prioritize. Right? Say self care is one of your priorities. You have to block out some time for self care every day. You have to block out time for your health. That you have to block out time for when you work, and having a schedule I feel like is very important from that aspect because it helps you um, take care of yourself. It helps you keep your mind leveled out and helps with balance and everything. And I think having a schedule is very important for that.
What goes into like your mindset each and every day to no matter what to get up, to work hard, to grind, not only for just today but your legacy?
I think it has a lot to do with knowing your why, knowing why you're doing what you're doing. And that goes with anything. Like once you know your why to why you're getting up every morning, that motivates you to be able to work hard because you're not just waking up and just letting life hit you and just whatever comes in your day, that's what's going to happen. No, when you know your why, you know what you're doing it for, and it motivates you to reach new heights and reach new levels. And I think that's very important is knowing your why to everything that you do in life.
Wow. Knowing your why to everything that you're doing in life. So you have purpose and intentionality to it. Did that come just to you like normally? What age you feel like that it came to you in regards to that everything I'm doing, it has to have a why and a purpose and intent to it?
I think it came with just learning, just life, and It comes from, surrounding yourself with good knowledge, good people, and actually, it just kind of, I've known that inside myself for since I was very young. Like, I've always known my why to why I wanted to do things, and it changes. My why changes every time. Like, your why doesn't really stay the same a lot of the times, because a lot of the times you accomplish goals and your why is different once you have another goal. So, but it's still always important to have that there in order to reach your next goal or your happiness.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
indeed. I mean, what came to mind to me too is, I mean, I look at this spacious space, man, and think about how remarkable it is. It makes me think about that young AB. And if he was to look at where you are right now, what would he say?
I think the young AB will be proud.
Yeah.
He would be proud of me. And I always, it's funny because I always have this thing where I'll look at, the person that I want to be, and then I also try to go after it. I always picture myself as an older man, and then look back at
Mhm.
the age that I'm at now, and see if the older man would be proud of the guy that I am right now. And I always strive to make that older man happy, the older version of myself
Myself happy.
happy,
Ah, that's
and
interesting.
that kind of motivates me to do stuff. And I'm uh as I'm getting older, and I constantly ask myself, like, if the older guy will be proud of what I'm doing right now.
Man, fantastic. So the younger AB, like, did it ever hit you like I'm gonna be a barber one day, or how did that even come about? You even getting into cutting people's hair? Like, how'd that come about?
Yeah, it's funny because not a lot of when I was coming up, not a lot of younger people wanted to be barbers. Like, that really wasn't a thing to become a barber as a young person. I was 14 when I picked up my first pair of clippers, and I fell in love with it the first time that my barber at the time, he gave me a pair of clippers, and I just always used to see him living the lifestyle that I wanted to live. And that really motivated me at a young age to become a barber. And I just loved the freedom that he had, the flexibility, and he was his own boss. So I really looked up to that, and I knew at the moment that I saw him that I wanted to become a barber, and that's what I wanted to do. And ever since 14, I've been cutting hair.
Wow.
Mm.
And so with you cutting hair and being inspired to seeing somebody else do it, it kind of makes me think about me when I get in your chair and I get my hair cut. I think about my first cut and being a young person, being inspired by my barbers. Most of them were the best conversationalists
Right,
I've
right.
seen, and it's crazy because sometimes you see barbers and most of the time you hear them conversate is by cutting their hair. That's why I love this experience is have you been able to sit down and really talk and have that conversation without cutting the hair because it's some amazing things you'll hear and also stories you'll hear. With that being said, did that come to you naturally?
Well, I would say it comes natural with being a barber, but I also I think studying a lot about human psychology, and
Yeah.
just it's a little bit of both, right? Because you definitely as you get into personal growth, you learn about yourself, and you learn about people, and you learn different things that that help you conversate and build good relationships
Yeah.
with people. So I think it's a little bit of both, and just experience, and dealing with so many people in your chair over time, it just becomes a natural thing. You don't even think about it. It just flows right through you. So yeah, I mean, whenever you come in my chair, and whenever any of my clients, it's natural, and we have some bomb conversations when we're in the chair, and yeah, so that's I would say one of the things I really enjoy about this career, just having the conversations that we have, and just and yeah, and then just making y'all look good, you know.
When we get a chance to hear your story, it makes us understand you even more. So, with that being said, what are some of the things that you had to face along your journey that helped you and also that you had to push through?
Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with a bunch of when you don't really have mentors
Yeah,
or anybody to guide you, you have to figure out stuff on your own, right? And that can definitely be a big challenge because you don't have no direction. You don't know which way to go when you're first becoming a barber or starting up a business. It's pretty tough because you're really just throwing yourself out there, and then you have a bunch of different things that you don't know about, and it's just tough. It's tough finding um things out, and just figuring it out all out, and that has been a real challenge, doing this, and yeah, so.
yeah.
Mhm,
We always talk about legacy.
mhm.
You know, what would you say you would want your legacy to be with being not only a barber, but just as a human being, as a man as well?
That's a tough question.
Yeah,
But I would say, I would want to be known as somebody that anybody could come to, and talk to, and I don't know. I mean, I just want to be the best me in all aspects that I can be, as far as everything goes. This I want to be the best barber that I can be. I want to be the best husband that I can be. I want to be the best everything, and and yeah, I just want to be the best possible version of myself, and if that, um, so yeah.
yeah. What continues to drive you daily?
What continues to drive me? Just the future, looking
Yeah,
forward to things that I have planned out, and future goals. That's always what continues to drive me forward.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm able to vouch for the man of AB because I remember you showed up to my wedding, man. You talk about not only a barber, but like really a brother showing up to your wedding. You somebody that shows up, man, and going into talking about your legacy is somebody that is somebody about their word as well. And someone, when you say he's a friend or a definition of a friend, I think about you. You are truly a friend beyond just a barber. How do you find ways for people to recognize you as more than just a barber?
Just kind of just how I try to be, not just be known as a barber, but also as a great friend,
Yeah,
as a great husband, as a great son, in all aspects. I try to do my best to be um, just that, just the best in
yeah,
everything, in everything that I do, at least that I can. Um, and I feel like that's kind of what I strive to do every day. I wake up trying to do my best in all aspects, and that's how I would feel.
man, it's so crazy, but also speaks to resilience and speaks to like you as a person, individual. Is that I think about you talking about going back to that young kid AB. You talk about the resilience you had to have. You talk about the mindset and inspiration you had to have, even with no direction as well. Like, is there a certain individual or individuals that throughout your journey that you've been inspired by, or those who you would say you credit for you being where you're at right now?
I would say I definitely am inspired by my mother. I mean, growing up, she worked. She was a single mother, so single mother, working 3 jobs, and just trying her hardest to give me everything, And if it's one person that inspires me, it would be her. And anytime that I am tired, that I am not feeling it, I look back and say, my mom worked 3 jobs, and I'm over here complaining that I'm tired.
Yeah.
Like, that
Yeah.
really inspires me in a sense, and I am glad that, um, that I saw that growing up. I saw how
Mhm.
much effort my mom put in into give trying to give me everything, even though she worked from 7 a.m. till about 11 p.m. at night every day, and I think that's where I got my hard work from. And yeah, I mean, I would say she was a big inspiration in me working hard. Hmm.
Man, so did you ever think about at that time? Because, like you said, seeing your mom work 7 to 11, man, did you ever think at any time, like, where does she find time to do all this? Like, how does she find that grit inside to continue to push forward? Like, did you find out what the recipe was of it? Or was it more so like, more and more you saw her, it just developed in you, and sometimes it's even hard to explain, but it's more so like I saw it, so I had no other choice but to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think she, in some strange way, I was probably her why,
Wow.
because she always tried to really, take care of me and do the best she could, and I kind of took that from her, and I don't know if it's like genetic or what. Like, I guess I just,
Yeah.
when you're in some kind of environment,
Yeah.
you see that, and you just kind of pick that up yourself. And I feel like that's what she was to me, and she engraved that in me from a young age to always work hard and to get what you want. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Any pivotal conversations you remember having with your mom along that journey, even with you specific, like you barbering and continue on with that? Because it's almost like I kind of think about like an athlete sometimes or artist. It's only a certain percentage that actually are really good at it. So
Right.
going after that thing is tough sometimes because not everybody believes. So is there any point that there was a pivotal conversation where you just felt like you needed it, that you received that from your mom?
Well, she's always she supported me, and anything I've ever wanted to do. She has been there, and she has told me if anything I can do, I'm there to support. And I do remember, in high school, I was at a point where
Yeah.
I wasn't probably the best high school kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I did promise my mom that I was going to graduate for her, and she was like,
Yeah.
"I don't care what you do after high school, but just give me that diploma. That's all I want, that high school
Wow.
diploma." And you know, um, I was really motivated to get that diploma, and I did it for my mom to just work hard, stay after school, and
Yeah.
study, and just get that done. And I feel like that was a big a big accomplishment for me, that to get that for her, and make her happy.
Yeah.
So. Mhm.
Yeah. I know she's definitely proud. Well, that's not only the only lady you have in life. You also have a wife, man. Like, how do you balance marriage and even the success in the life, even as a barber? That's a schedule for you. How do
Right.
you balance that? How do you find time to make that time for not only your self care but also caring for your marriage as well? That time that's very important.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, it's a challenge, but we get it done. And my wife, being a hairstylist as well,
Whoa,
she
whoa, whoa! You said she's a hairstylist as
she's a
well?
hairstylist as well.
Oh man,
Yeah.
no, no, we gotta pause. We
Yeah.
gotta pause. How did that even happen? Did you
Yeah.
know already? Like, what happened?
Well, we actually met at a hair show.
What?
We met at a hair show, and that's how we came about. And her being a hairstylist, she knows how this industry is, right?
Yeah,
So she knows that sometimes, you have the late nights and the early mornings, and I'm very grateful that I have a very supportive wife that, she always supports me in everything that I do. And I am definitely blessed to have a wife like her. And that makes things a lot easier, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, because you still try to make time for everything, but at the same time, there's certain seasons where you're going to be working a lot more than others. And she understands that. So I really am grateful for her for that. And I really am glad that I met her. So.
Man,
Hmm.
awesome, man. And you both have beautiful spirits, man. So, I mean, when you see one, you see the other. I really, I mean, y'all match very well, man. Just let you know,
Thank you,
match
appreciate
very
that.
well. You're definitely welcome,
Well,
man. And that's very important too for those who are married men, figuring out how do I balance, my schedule and also my marriage as well. It's definitely communication as well. Let's talk about success more. Success more. The last conversation we had when I was in your chair, we was talking about pretty much the 1% in regards to people who doing the necessary things that help them be successful. Not everybody sometimes uh, not only wants but has the desire to do it on a consistent basis. So how how do you find the desire to do those things that only the 1% do? Because like I come here every time, and I mean, you make sure not only you greet me, man, you make sure I feel so welcome. You make sure I feel like um, I'm important, that I am somebody, that you're present the whole entire time. And sometimes that doesn't happen at every barbershop. So how do you find that time, even with your schedule, whatever's going on in your life at that time, to do those little things each and every day that makes you and separates you as the 1%?
Well, I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, how taking care of yourself out of the shop, and taking care of your mental health, taking
Yeah.
care, doing things that make you happy outside of work. I think that's very important to be able to show up while you're at work and also take care of your clients. And it has a lot to do with what do you do when you're outside of the shop. It's
Yeah.
not just about being here all the time. No, it's about taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical health, and making sure that you're just right, in all aspects, making sure that you're right so that you can make other people around you feel all right as well.
Mm.
So I feel like that is very important to people's success, and barbers that so sometimes, us as barbers, we tend to try to work as much to try to make as much money as we can, but in the long run, that I feel like, a lot of barbers end up, um, um, with a lot of barbers end up just
Kind of
not
hitting a
not
wall.
reaching their full potential because they're just so they get so burnt out, and they don't put out their best work. So.
Yeah. The balance between quality and money. Sometimes that's the toughest thing. And it's which one are you willing to sacrifice
Hmm.
as well? And we talk about that all the time, as well as putting quality over just the number of people that we can work with, or the number of people we can talk to. So, how do you really focus on the quality? Like, how do you focus on that?
Well, I just try to provide the best service that I can give anybody that steps into my chair, into my studio. I try to give them the best of me, whether it's the best conversation, the best haircut, the best service. That's what I try to do. And when we say quality, that's what I mean. I want you to walk out of here and feel like a new man, a new person. I want you to feel like what you paid me is nothing to what value you got from coming to my shop.
Right.
That's what I want you to feel like whenever you come in here, and that's what I feel like quality service or quality work is. So.
It's interesting you say that because a while back, Jalen Rose was talking about haircuts and what the minimum he thought you should pay a barber and stuff. And I think it goes into what you were talking about is it's the quality, it's beyond just the cut.
Mm-hmm.
The cut is just a small portion of what ultimately barbers do. It's more of the experience that you get and the extra touch that sometimes you don't get as
Right.
well. And so, talking about quality, tell me, you said mental health, physical health. So, what book? We talk about books all the time. What books is the top of your list?
Oh, what books are the top of my list? Well, it just it depends. I mean, the
Mm,
7 Habits of Successful People.
okay.
That's one of my favorite. Um, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
Okay.
That's a really good book. Get Rich and um, Think and Grow Rich. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
no, you was
yeah,
just
yeah.
fine,
Think and
man.
Grow Rich. Obviously, that's a great book. Um, but yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think those are my top three, to kind of get your mindset right, to get you
Mm.
thinking, to expand your thinking. So yeah.
And please do share anything stands out to you about those books. For the fellow men that may want to look at those books.
Yeah, I mean, the Power of Now kind of, it helps you, when it comes to being present, being
Yeah.
present, and decluttering your mind, and just being free of thought, and whenever you're doing something, do it in totality, and just do it in present moment. Um, so yeah, I actually always kind of go back to that book, and anytime when I'm feeling some kind of way, I always
Yeah.
go back and stuff like that. Yeah. What are your favorite books?
My favorite books, man. Wow. Straight Shooter by Stephen A. Smith is one powerful book. Just hearing his story, I couldn't even imagine. I have men of Fowler that I grew up with, and I couldn't imagine having a father that lived in the same house but wasn't present and was also having another home as well, doing some other stuff as well. And just his whole story about finding a way to success, not making excuses, working his heart out, and also just the pitfalls that he fell in as well and the learning lessons. One thing that stood out to me was he was saying one day it was when he got let go by ESPN the first time. He was at home and his mom was cooking his favorite breakfast and brought it in. And when she brought it in, she brought also a mirror. And she said, "When are you going to start looking at yourself?"
Mm,
And it made me think about sometimes we get upset at life and we don't think about the accountability that we hold. And we was talking about a book that's almost similar that you were saying you liked is when will you take the accountability? And sometimes I feel that can be the hardest thing as an individual and even as a man sometimes to take accountability and hold ourselves accountable for whatever life has brought us because ultimately we have control of our choices. You have control of quality in regards to every time I come in here, quality service. Every time you go out there in life, interact with people, quality. Just being character wise, strong character. But sometimes we need that jolt and reminder that every now and then we need to look in the mirror.
mm-hmm.
You know, that man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson would say.
Yeah.
You know, what would that man in the mirror say? Or as one person would say to me is, if you had five of you and you was to look at them in the mirror, would you be proud?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would you be proud? That's like that kick in. but like that ignition that says like I got to do more,
Right.
I got to do better, I got to work on the inner me.
Right.
So we talk about self-care. How does somebody work on the inner me? We talk about these books, but how somebody looks in that mirror. So how do you find a way to look in that mirror?
I would say meditation really helps a lot with that. Just looking deep inside of yourself, sitting there
Mm,
with your thoughts, sitting there with all the parts that you don't like about yourself, and just sitting there and just accepting all of you for who you are and
mm,
releasing it when you meditate. I found that that really helps. Going within. It helps just accepting everything about you,
mm,
and like you said, we have to look at ourselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and from there work on who you're trying to become.
yeah.
Mm,
Indeed, Lauren Hill would say, "How you gonna win when you ain't right within?"
exactly.
Like you gotta be right within,
Mm,
and that's really the motivation of this self-care series is really working on being right within. Let's look and not be afraid of those ugly parts of ourselves that we need to work on. And let's also have a fair assessment of the parts that we doing a darn good job in. And we may just need to sharpen up just even a little bit more and add to. As my mom would say is if she was look at my grades and one grade would be off, she was like, well, keep these grades up as well, but make sure you work on that too. It's a balance.
right,
Going back to that first question, it's a balance between success, family, goals, and also self-care. There's a balance in everything in life. And when one thing is off, the other thing is off as well. But it's taking that time. But the issue is, I find, AB, and we talk about all the time, is time itself. The wrestle with how do I be present in this moment and still have future thoughts in the future, but not know if I'm going to make it to that time. Like I can have a goal right here, but also long for something more later on, but be present in this moment. And sometimes that can be the hardest bug to get through. And what I love about your story is that each and every time you come to work, each and every time you come in here into I would call almost like a sanctuary, is you have to be present. You have no customer that you can't be present with. So it sharpens you to be even more present in also in everyday life.
right.
It's just all a matter of time, as they would say.
Yeah.
So my encouragement to you guys is for this first part of this self-care series is be present. You may have a unique story. Every culture is special. The legacy you're creating, man, is really special, man. The brotherhood I know we continue building is special. And that's something I want these other brothers out there to see and recognize is that you can form strong brotherhoods. Sometimes it just starts with a simple conversation.
That's it.
No, I first came here, not to share too much of the story, but I first came here in the barbershop, man, and this was before I even met my wife. Man, it was talking about life and goals, and now you see me married and also see me with my daughter and my daughter grow. And we was talking about that earlier before even entering this podcast. But we shared life together. We've bond together. You can have that bond with some other man as well, and that brotherhood with some other man. That's important to self-care too. Just conversate. Take the time to be present. And most importantly, know your story is powerful. And as AB just said, is the inner you ain't so bad. Well, this is another episode of Who You Listening To Podcast with your main man, Markey B. Make sure you like, comment, share, and also subscribe. And definitely follow my main man right here, AB the Barber. Get your cut. What's some links they can follow you at?
You can follow me at AB Barber 1 on Instagram. And you can check me out at the Link Shopping Center in Austin, Texas, if you ever need a cut.
Hey,
So.
you're probably gonna need one, a good one. Got you back. All right, y'all. You have a good one. Sign off.